welcome to a joint presentation of the Digital Media Center Teach and Learn workshops and the Pasadena Lightroom Imaging Group. For those of you that don't know about the Digital Media Center's workshops, we're putting on a series of workshops between now and the middle of December for faculty and staff teaching new media. And if you go to PCC's website, some of you might have already seen that, there's a list of the 10 workshops that we are offering this semester. And we've just added 2 new workshops. One's about building interactive flash presentations into your PDFs, which will be given by Rover. Some of you may be familiar with her. She's currently the Senior Director of Education at lynda.com. And then another workshop some of you may also be interested in is called, by Justine Geyer. It's called The Edge of the Page, and it's about building a website that formats itself to whatever device you happen to be on. So if you want to check those workshops out, they're on the Digital Media Center site. But tonight, for the kickoff, for the main sort of evening kickoff, we're very pleased to have Joe Estes. Who's just been in Florida to try and witness the last launch of the space shuttle, but as you all know, it's put on hold. So unfortunately, we don't have tales to hear of that, except
that it didn't happen. So we're still waiting for the tales.
Okay, so I'm going to hand over to Joe if you want to.
So to start it off, who here has been on the internet today? Might have been different a couple years back, but today we're all connected. Everything we do is on the internet. People are consuming information at rapid rates. Here. Teens watch 60% less TV than their parents and spend 600% more time on their TV, according to Arthur W. Page. Imagine that. 22.4 million people access news daily from a mobile device, in an article from Cellular News. As I said in the video, YouTube is the second largest search engine. What's the first? Man, those guys are taking over. If they're not self-aware yet, yeah, again, I don't know. As of July 10th, Facebook has more than 500 million users. More than 30 billion pieces of content are shared each day on Facebook. And 3.4 million wiki articles are published. Now, my first experience with social media is, let me think back, Friendster. Does anyone remember Friendster? That was one of the first social networking sites. They didn't exactly start it off, but I think they were one of the first recognizable ones. And we probably all got ourselves into trouble on there. But yeah, it was my first experience. Today, how I use social media is, as Rachel said, I recently attended the shuttle launch that was supposed to go up, and they had a new way of actually communicating to all the guests of the shuttle launch on what the status of Discovery was and all the problems they were having when the shuttle launch would go up. They used Twitter. People would follow the tweets and it would say, hey, we're going up this morning. So every day we'd go out and get ready to jump on the bus, and then we'd look at Twitter and say, oh, technical difficulties. Irregular circuit reading in the testing when they turned on the shuttle engines. Okay, so that day was scrapped. Then the next day, you wake up at 5:30 a.m. again, ready to get on the bus, and you look at Twitter again. Okay, we can't, no missions go again because of inclement weather. I'm wondering, how would they have done this years ago before these social media platforms where information gets to you so fast? I don't know. Even the website wasn't fast enough for us because they would have to have someone go and use some sort of content management system and log in and do that. Twitter, someone was doing it from their phone probably. In addition, when I first graduated college, about years ago, I met a bunch of friends from Australia, and I wanted to keep in touch. And how did I do so? Well, we had this burgeoning social media horizon coming upon us, and so we used things like Facebook at the time. We were Skyping. And what other time can we use this to stay in touch with people that far across the world? Does anyone here have a favorite social media platform that they use right now? Any? Delicious. Okay, that one's been around a while. That's a bookmarking platform where you can actually bookmark your site and provide to the rest of the world what you've bookmarked so people can see what you're interested in looking at. So what is social media? How many of us use some sort of social media today? Well, current marketing trends in the 21st century have proven that people love to connect. We have this innate human sense of the need to connect. So these social platforms are perfect for satiating that need. No wonder they're so popular. Social media defined is social interaction using highly scalable and accessible online platforms. And that's exactly what all these things are: Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, blogs. So, social media is a conversation. It's supported by online tools. Social media is not controlled, organized, and it's on message. The conversation is organic, it's complex, it speaks in a human voice. Social media is not a strategy or a tactic. It's simply a channel. The conversation is powered by news and bookmarking, blogs, microblogging, video sharing, photo sharing, message boards, wikis, virtual reality, social gaming, podcasts, and RSS. Does anyone here know what RSS stands for?
Really simple syndicate.
Okay. Nice. You guys know your social media terms. Jeff Tucker has an equine dentist service out of Florida I read about. And he primarily takes care of the teeth of horses. And before it was a word of mouth business. But with today's social media economy, he has branched way out of his small town dentist business for horses in Florida. He's now branched out to people on Facebook. So he was word of mouth before, but now he's making virtual connections and bringing people in from all over the globe because he has such a specialized service. He's using this game-changing paradigm to accentuate his business and make money in ways you couldn't without this social media platform. How many users here have read a blog? Less than I thought, I think, unless you're not participating. You guys are below the average. Who here has a blog? Okay, that's about right. Who here is on a social network? Okay, this is going to be fun. Who here has uploaded photos to the internet? Okay. And who here has watched video on the internet? Probably same amount. Yeah. Well, you all just watched one, so there you go. I hope it's 100%. You failed the class if you didn't raise your hand. So, social media sites are the fastest growing category on the web, doubling their traffic over this year. So as you can see, 73% of the users have read a blog, 45% have their own blog, 57% have joined a social network, 55% have uploaded photos, 83% have watched video clips. So let's look at the breakdown. This is Google Trends. And you can see that right in the middle of 2008, things started to happen in social media. It started to be searched. Who here has used Google Trends? Okay, some people. Google Trends allows you to look at the frequency of Google searches. So oftentimes you can see trends happening, things on the horizon. Google Trends is rising year over year, and is still heavily on the rise. According to this Forrest researcher post, it has grown at an annual rate of 34%. This is a rich market and a rich platform for us to use. I know that a lot of you are in the photography department. When I heard of that, I thought this is going to be perfect for how you can create your personal brand, how you can create a community around that, and how you can leverage these social media tools to promote what you're doing. So social media is changing our world, if you haven't already figured that out. The power to define and control a brand is shifting from the corporation and institutions to individuals and communities. These online brands are the new mass market. It's about putting the public back in public relations. And realizing that focusing on important markets and influencers will have a far greater impact than trying to reach the masses with any one message or tool. The days of corporations bombarding you with ads and making you buy their product, well, we have the same tools available to us now. It's much more about the individual. People trust personal brands, people they can relate to, talk to, have intimacy with. Marketers can effectively use social media by influencing the conversation. For example, they have a company called Idea Paint, and what they do is they put dry erase boards on any sort of surface. If you want to put a surface on this wall, they can do that, turn it into a dry erase board. What they do, they leverage social media, they blog about what they can do, and then they aggregate it with posts on Twitter and Facebook. And Marcus Wilson, the CEO of Idea Paint, says this system gives the company a level of customer intimacy and global reach that was unheard of 10 years ago. And that's exactly it. They're using tools that would cost an exorbitant amount, would actually take them out of the game if it had been 10 years ago. At the crux of this, the social paradigm shift is delivering your personal brand, and that's exactly what we're going to focus on next, about creating your personal brand. So, can anyone name someone in the media who has a successful personal brand?
Lady Gaga.
Oh, Oprah is probably the most well-branded, successfully well-branded person in the world. Anyone else? Okay, I'll take 2. I was going to have you name 10, but I guess 2 is good. So, the first part of building your social brand is actually figure out what's your passion. What makes you tick? What could you write about for weeks and months and years? What could be your career? What could you do 100 hours a week and be totally satisfied? Okay, 3. We got 7 more.
Sorry, it's late.
What could you write 100 blog posts about? Because that is what it's going to take to get started creating your personal brand, something that you could just talk about for hours, something that just gets you up in the morning, makes you excited to work. Is that photography? What's the other side of the group? What are some things you guys could think you could blog about? What's your passion?
Ariana Huffington.
6 more, I'm telling you.
Politics, social event, politics.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. So you could be the next Ariana Huffington.
I don't look good in a dress.
Oh man. So I read a book called Never Eat Alone. Has anyone?
Good one.
You've read that? Keith Ferrazzi. He's actually a part of my fraternity. I'm Sigma Chi. I don't know if there's any of those in the room. But anyway, he wrote a book called Never Eat Alone, and he talks about something in there called your blue flame. And your blue flame is where your passions and your talents intersect. And at that point is when you're going to be completely successful in what you're doing. So that is a big part of your personal brand, finding that which makes you tick, makes you what you're good at and what you're passionate about, and bringing those together. It's going to be your expertise. You are going to know more about this than anyone else. When you are blogging about this and putting tweets out there, bringing them back to your blog, you're going to be the foremost about this subject. What's my passion? I happen to love mobile applications. Now, I don't talk a whole lot about that today. At JPL, I do mobile app infrastructure and development and distribution there. It's what I love. It's what I love to write about. It's what I love to talk to people about. It's what I love to promote using these social media channels. So now our next thing, we want to be a laser beam and not a floodlight. Now what's that mean? It means we want to focus on a single idea. We want to be, you've heard the saying, jack of all trades, but a master of none. We'll throw that out the window. Not for this. For this, you want to be the social media maven of this particular subject. When someone Googles gardening, and you are the foremost gardener, you want that to come up as the top hit on Google. Or you want to have more tweets than anyone out there about gardening. You want to focus more on depth, not breadth. Be known for the single thing. You want to have focused energy that's going to be burned in the minds of your future followers. You'll be known as maybe an architect. Is there any architects in the room? No? Hey, I knew there'd be one. This is what is going to have your followers voraciously follow you. They're going to love the content that you're putting out. You're going to be the foremost on it, and they're going to follow you. Now, all this content that I'm talking about you putting out it's called your digital footprint. Okay? And your digital footprint is basically all the content you put out that follows you forever. Everything you put on the internet is going to be there in perpetuity. That may be a scary thing to some of you. I get kind of frightened sometimes when I think of this Facebook generation. And some people aren't very cautious about what they put on Facebook. But I think when this future generation goes on to be our politicians and our future leaders, I think we're going to see definitely some static arise. Right? I think it's going to be all over the Huffington Post. So, has anyone heard of Google Goggles? Okay. Google Goggles, this is kind of an anecdote, but it's a safeguard against this stuff. If, say it's around 3 a.m. and you go to get in your email and you want to go email some people, well, if you have Google Goggles installed, this will actually check to see if you're up to par at that time of night. See if you have the faculties to make this email that you want to send out. It's going to make you do some math problems. It's going to give you some questions before you can actually...
No drone texting.
There you go. Eric Schmidt from Google mentioned that how are we going to delete our digital footprint? Well, he says that individuals will need to change their names to escape their cyber past in the future. That may come true. I don't know. I don't know if you'll be able to escape that easy. Maybe we'll be so connected that you will not even be able to escape once you change that name. You'll just be linked back again. The killer content you create is going to be attributed to this expertise. So those who are putting out great content, let's not focus on the negative for a minute. Those who are putting out great content are going to be handsomely rewarded. You're going to be known as the foremost for what you are putting out on the internet. So someone here name their favorite blogger. Those of you who read blogs.
John Gruber.
John Gruber. Okay. Okay. Getting specific there.
Seth.
Okay.
He's a great blogger. Seth Godin's
He is. I follow his tweets. He's very prolific. Now, why do you like these bloggers?
information. They disseminate information on the go. Really pertinent information.
Pertinent. What? Why else? Why do you like these bloggers specifically? Why not just anyone who puts out content? Okay.
Conversation.
They also, I was looking for this one. They have clout. They're the best at what they're saying. They draw you in. They're interesting. You respect what they say. When they tell you something, you believe what they're saying. They've earned that trust with you. They've built a personal brand that has allowed you to read it, believe it, consume it, and take them on their word. So with you, you're going to do the same thing. You guys are going to be blogging about your subject, what makes you tick, what you're passionate about. The more passionate you are about your subject, and because your blue flame is emblazoned on the web with your blog post, this will cause people to follow you. People will respect what you're saying. People will want to hear what you have to say. They'll be just salivating for that next tweet or blog post that you're going to put out there. This is going to generate all sorts of buzz. And in turn, you're going to be able to monetize it. And I'll talk more about monetizing this and the actual steps for doing this later. But great content is one of the keys to this personal brand. It's what delivers that authenticity that lets people trust you. This killer content comes from a deep love and focus. If you just try to sell a product, if you just try to get hits back to your site, it's not going to win in the end. In the end, you're going to have to love what you're doing. You're going to have to bring them back to your site and give them something that they want to come back for. Everywhere you go, there's a new site, there's a new blog, and the cream will rise to the top. And that's the best filter for all this mass media overload. You're going to see the best come up. You have sites like Dig. Has anyone been on Dig? Dig, how it works is people post content, and then you get to dig it. And if you like it, then it goes up in the ranks. So what I like to do at the end of the day is go to see what the most dug article is, and I'm going to be informed about something. It's something that the whole world liked. So it's that great content that gets to the top. Users know the difference between content that isn't real. They know content that is just there to get you to their site. And yeah, you may have the right keywords to get searches to get you to their site, but if it's not something worth reading, if it's not something of value, those users are going to be gone. They're going to be a one-time bounce. You really need that killer content to keep them there. They're going to relate with your realness, and they're going to love your content. So you have to be authentic and build brand in this new trust economy. So next, I want to talk about how your blog is your new resume. If it's not already apparent, this content that you're putting out is going to stay with you. It's going to be your personal legacy. It's searchable. Has anyone here been discovered for a job because of some online content, or even had any sort of interaction where someone has serendipitously found them on the internet through something that's there and offered them a position? Okay. Do you mind saying what it is? If you didn't think I was going to ask you what it was. See, authenticity. This is what I'm talking about. You have to have real content.
Better web presence than real life presence. But mainly my artwork, and I've been asked for things like if they could use my artwork in their little online webisodes and things like that, or help them create something or whatever. But so yeah, it's usually with my artwork for that. But also we have a web comic, so then we do comics over that. And conventions and things like that.
Yeah, we've been offered a couple of times to be part of collaborations and collections that are going to be in future publications, things like that.
Okay. Have you guys used social media to kind of promote that?
It's a web comic.
Okay.
It's all on the web.
Yeah. I know it's on the web, but are you using social media just because it's on the web?
We're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, and also Project Wonderful.
Okay.
If you've heard of that.
I haven't, but I'll check it out. I'll Google it. Developing your personal brand is the same as living and breathing your resume every second that you're working. That's a quote by Gary Vaynerchuk. Has anyone heard? No one said him, so I... Okay. The wine guy, right? The wine guy. And, I mean, Gary Vaynerchuk, for those of you who don't know him, I found him a couple years ago. I happen to enjoy wine. I'm a first-level sommelier. Not that that matters. I just happen to be, and so that's why I was looking for his podcast. And so I was searching wine through iTunes, and I found him, and I saw this crazy guy out there just yelling and screaming and talking about wine in a way that I've never heard anyone talk about it before. And he's a real testament to authenticity. He's built a personal brand for himself. I mean, the fact that a guy in his wine cellar was talking about wine, and now he's kind of a, I guess not household name, but people here have definitely heard about him. He's a social media household name. Vaynerchuk. You can search it any way you want, and it'll come up. So.
What's the difference between a first level and a casual drinker?
See, it's all about authenticity, okay? Yeah. You actually have to enjoy it and understand the complexity of it and things like that. Not just consume quantity. Yes.
Just a little pewter cup.
Yep, the wine key.
There's a French word involved.
So what's the first step? You've decided what your passion is. So now what you're going to do is, the baseline step of this is to create your blog. This blog is going to be your hub. This is going to be the place that you go to bring everyone back to. It's going to be somewhere where you're going to spend a lot of time. Every day you're going to put your heart and soul into creating posts. And then I'll talk about later on how to take these posts, aggregate them using social media tools. I worked with a print company, and all they could talk about was SEO. We want you to install SEO on our site. Does anyone know what SEO stands for? Okay. And I was telling them, search engine optimization is important, but that is just saying you want people to come to your site. You have to have a way to keep them there. You have to have a way to keep coming back for more. And I told them, you need a social media presence. You need to have great content. You need to be blogging about printing and stickers and art and things that people in your community are interested in, and they can have kind of supplementary material, and then while they're on their site, they can look at ads, they can navigate your site and see what kind of services you have. This is what keeps them there. Search engine optimization is important for getting them there. Having a sitemap, having good tags, things like that, those are important. But equally, if not more important, is building a community around your site so that people stay.
How do you build a community around being a horse dentist?
A horse what?
Dentist, like the guy you said. I mean, he created a social.
Yeah.
I mean, what was his method of getting? I mean, how do you build a community from just being a horse dentist?
I'm
I'm just saying, it's really hard when let's say you got your business and to reach out to a certain audience. And let's say the thing is, I'll do it to Facebook. But from there, where do you go? I mean,
I'm gonna show you just how to do that. That's.
You're probably going to like horse races. People like horses. Hey, hi.
It's even easier than that. It's a lot of work, and I'll show you how to do that. First, this is very subjective. Okay, this is building your personal brand. I'm going to show you how to build a community. Then I'm going to show you how you do that, specifically with the tools. What your marketing campaign can be, and that's exactly the answer to your question right there. If you don't mind, I'll answer it when I.
yeah.
Okay.
Did he have a blog?
He had a blog. He did.
He was blogging.
He mostly used Facebook though, because that's where he could build those genuine relationships. But I'll show you how he reached out into the community and got people. It wasn't like he was just adding random friends and hoping that they're having a horse or having horses that eat a lot of candy. There is a method to the madness, and I'll show you guys that. It's always been about who you know. It's not so much about what you know. In your content, you need to know. But there's also putting a face with a name. So this is your resume of tomorrow. When your employer goes out and they want to hire you, it's no longer going to be, okay, I'm going to put a piece of paper on his desk and, well, this guy has pretty good qualifications. Why would they do that when they can Google search you and see if you have already put out prolific information? If you are, some sort of maven in your particular study, it's too easy, and with the job market the way it is, there's too much to lose by not having great candidates. So there's no reason to not go out there, build your social presence, put stuff online, have great content. Employers are looking for thought leaders to fill the positions of the modern company. They don't want someone to just be there 9 hours of the day. They want someone who is a free thinker, someone who is a creator, not just a consumer. Okay, so now next I'm going to talk to you about how to grow your community. The first part of building your community after you have a brand is building trust. Why do people want to go out there and consume your content? Why do they want to come back for more? Why do they want to follow you every day? Companies think they can blast consumers with impersonal ads. They need to wake up. They need to realize that the game has definitely changed. The way you build your community is one follower at a time. And we're going to talk more about how you build those followers one person at a time. There's a lot of work in the market types, but the days of throwing advertisements again at users and seeing what sticks, that's way over. Your follows will be just, again, one follower at a time. You'll build the trust through being authentic. You're going to genuinely care about your audience. You're going to want to bring them in. You're going to not care about throwing a huge campaign out there, but actually going to other sites, going to other blogs, commenting, getting in on the conversation. You're going to go to things like search.twitter. Has anyone ever been to search.twitter? That's how you find relevant searches, not just anyone with a horse. You want someone with a horse with teeth problems, okay? And you can do all that with things like search.twitter. You can find conversations in blogsearch.google.com. You also need to listen to the pulse of your community. People are talking out there about photography, they're talking about gardening, they're talking about the subjects that you guys are experts on, the things that you want to promote, the things that you want to bring to light. And you need to join in on those conversations. You need to listen to the pulse of your community and see what it is they want. If you are a photography blogger, you need to go to search.twitter and search all your keywords. You need to come up with those things that are all about your subject. Photography, darkrooms, digital photography, HDR, things like that. And go to search.twitter, see what people are tweeting about. If it's relevant enough, at them, say, hey, I like your post. Why don't you come to my blog and see I have some content that I think you might like. I posted a blog very similar to what you had. Well, if you have great content, you might have a follower. You might have someone that is going to like what you have to say, and they're going to come back. That's one person. Eventually, it's going to reach critical mass. When those friends start telling friends, it's going to become viral, and your blog is going to have billions of hits. No, I don't know. The important thing to know here is that it's not just throwing it up against the wall and seeing what sticks. It's about making those genuine connections and earning followers to your site one person at a time. Okay, so these are some of the platforms that we're working with. A lot of you are familiar with all these. People and organizations connect, they interact with friends, colleagues, fans. This is what they like to do. We have this innate need to socialize and be connected. Has anyone heard of Ning? Ning is a place where you can create your own social network. It's kind of a cool niche tool. So if you have a product that could stand to be successful for something like that, it's definitely worth checking out. You're going to create online profiles. And these things, they're going to come up in the search engines now. Facebook, if you search and you enable that in your account, you'll be able to do that. And a lot of you might even want to check out Facebook fan pages. Has anyone created one of those? Yeah. You guys are on it. You need to learn more about the people and organizations that that are in your community. That's a way you join the conversation. You're going to follow brands and celebrities that are within your industry. You're going to find out all about your market, and you're going to dive straight into it. You're going to even join the niche social networks. I'm going to definitely advise joining the main social platforms, Twitter, Facebook. Creating a blog is, again, the crux of your social brand. But also, it's worth checking out all the other ones, depending on what your passion is and what your area of expertise is. Some of these other social media platforms may be slam dunk for you. For example, Last.fm, it does have a social media component to it. If you're in the music industry, definitely need to be on that. MySpace has largely migrated towards a music and media centered social media experience. So this one's about Twitter. What can Twitter help you with? It can help you share information. It can promote useful content, resources in very small, concise, snackable is a term that Mitch Joel from 6 Pixels of Separation, another prolific social media blogger, talks about. And those are small little content that you skim over and then brings the user into what you're actually trying to convey. It brings them back to your site. Again, this is a place you're going to connect with your customers and develop leads. You're going to do that through search.twitter.com. You're going to build credibility because you're going to be tweeting about relevant content that's going to go back to your blog. And you're going to listen to the buzz. You're going to listen to what people are talking about and join in on the conversations. You're going to research what your competitors are. And this is a little different experience. You're actually going to join the conversations of your competitors. In this new connected world, we're all in this together. You're going to comment on the blogs of your competitors, those who are in your industry. Because people in your community are not just going to go with what you're saying. They're going to go with all the people they like. And then they're going to see that your comments are great. They're going to see the content you put out, the conversations that you start are worth checking out, and you're going to rise to the top and be the top of the food chain in the blogosphere. And then especially you're going to network and learn from the experts, because there is definitely people with millions of followers like Ashton Kutcher and so this is does anyone follow any NASA or science-based Twitters?
Dr. Kiki. Her name is Dr. Kiki. She's a science.
Okay, yeah. So, if anyone remembers the Mars Phoenix rover, do you guys remember it went up about 2 years ago? And this had a kind of a funny phenomenon. This rover actually tweeted. So this rover, as it was roaming Mars and on its mission before the Martian winter, actually tweeted about everything that it did, everything that it ran across, in little poignant 140-character tweets. Now, this twittering wasn't actually happening from the rover, but it was happening from someone at JPL. They were twittering and giving back all the data, taking it and putting it in something human readable so that people like you and I could enjoy, all from Twitter. But it's something that people liked, and it's something that caught on.
So you're saying our car should tweet?
I'm saying your cars would tweet.
Should tweet?
Yeah. So now we're going to get into using your toolbox. What specifically are you going to do to generate this buzz? Create your personal brand and build that community around your personal brand. So one thing is that is different about this marketing approach to legacy approaches is that these digital channels, they're free. If you wanted to create a commercial and promote your band or your brand 10 years ago, you were not even in the running. You couldn't do it. You needed to get venture capital. You needed to get angel investment. And things have changed. We have the same tools that these Fortune 500 companies have to use that they're promoting their brands with. But we have an advantage. They are selling a brand with a facade. It's a whole company. It's something people don't always trust, something they can't see and understand. This is a real person. This is something that we can connect with. It's something that people can relate to. For so long, it's been impossible to break into mainstream marketing, because their prices were so high. Social media has become the de facto marketing tool. Everything is on the web. People are trying to figure out how they can market, how they can get their content promoted on the web. And we have the tools right in front of us. So now, is it a better thing to have money, or is it not a better thing to have money? More money, more problems. I heard you talking about that. It's from a song I heard once. I don't know. Having an unlimited marketing budget actually can be a bad thing. Since your objective is to build community around your brand and through the creation of genuine connections and having a huge marketing budget to foster this, it actually makes you care less about quality. It makes you care about just getting your message out there. It doesn't help you focus on the hard work it takes to build those followers. And again, we're going to get into how you can actually build those followers using the social media tools. Mitch Joel, a prolific social media blogger, calls this more of a splash, when you actually want to steep your users in the messages that you give them. You don't just want to hit them with a broad tweet or commercial or. Okay, I guess it's 8 o'clock. Okay, well, we all know what time it is.
Break?
Huh?
Do you want to take a break?
Yeah, let's take a break. Okay, if you guys are ready, I'll give it another go. So I left off with why an unlimited budget is not always a good thing. So I kind of already gave you my argument for that, but also that, again, people don't like to be bombarded with meaningless ads and things like that. They, again, what Mitch Joel calls not a splash, but an actual ripple, is a series of positive interactions that create a follower out of the person that's visiting your content. And then moving on from there, talking about how business has changed forever. Companies out there are afraid that they've lost control, that they no longer control their brands because of these social media outlets that people are talking about what's going on. People, if you have a bad product, they're going to go and talk about it. They're going to tell everyone on the internet. But transparency is supreme in this, and all things come to light with all the conversations that are going on. So what these companies fail to see is that if you don't give your followers a channel to actually talk about it on your home turf, they're going to find out their own. So they might as well use things like Facebook, things like Twitter, and YouTube to display what they want to get across to the customer, but on their terms. They need to join them on their own channels. A lot of times people think that a bad comment or something is a bad thing, but studies have shown that it actually just proves to people that it's actually a more real product. If you go and buy something on Amazon, if there's a bunch of positive comments and one person says, don't buy this, is the worst thing ever. Well, studies have shown that people still usually buy it because they see, I kind of want not all 5 stars. Then you tend to think that, maybe these are company generated, or it's just someone on the inside promoting this type of stuff.
But that does happen. I mean, companies employ tons of people.
It's true. I have heard of cases. So I don't know if they're true, so I won't comment on them. But I have heard where companies have actually paid to have their advertisements or negative feedback removed. So you guys all might know what I'm talking about.
I know they pay people to do the positive reviews. I didn't know
Yeah.
they could actually pay like Amazon or something to take away the negative ones.
When I've done research looking for negative feedback on a particular product, and I cannot find any, like zero, and you know somebody.
But see, doesn't that worry you at that point? You think it's not human.
Wait, was it an Apple product?
Yeah. Anyway, but yeah, I mean, someone is definitely, they are like creating an artificial image.
Share your content. You have these great data repositories of information. Put it out on the web. Put this great content in a place people can find it and search on you for, and join your community. Corporations, like people, they need to share information to get the value out of social media just as much as us consumers need to. Make it easy to share. When you have a blog, it's kind of the standard now, but when you have a post, people like easy distribution of your post, like whether it's through to retweet, to like, to dig. They have buttons at the bottom of the post where if a user, they enjoy what you're saying, they can they can post it and let the rest of the world see what they're interested in. So now I'm going to talk about more specifically how to effectively blog. Since your blog is going to be your home base, it's going to be the place you start off and bring everyone back to, it's the most important. It's got to look great. There's a lot of, if you're using things like WordPress or Blogger or Tumblr, has anyone heard of Tumblr? Okay. Tumblr is actually a reasonably new blogging slash content managed site that's really easy to use and has a lot of cool features that normal blogs don't. You have the ability to tumble, which is kind of the equivalent of retweeting, which those of you who don't know what retweeting is, it's actually finding your post and actually resending it out, but through your own personal channel. So you have the ability to do that with your blog and your posts on Tumblr. So the first thing is to find out what's everyone talking about. How are you going to do this? You're going to go to search.twitter.com and you're going to find your keywords, determine what they are, and you're going to search on those. You're going to search on maybe your site. If you're into photography, you're going to look at that. You're going to find the most relevant tweets, and you're going to start a conversation. You're going to see what people are talking about, and you're going to tailor your posts around those. You're going to make them authentic. You're going to make them have great content, but you're also going to find out what's everything going with. If you have such a niche portion of what you're studying that no one's really talking about it, maybe you want to get a little broader. Maybe that actually might suit you because you can be the foremost on this very specific portion of your field. You want to prolong every interaction, since everything you do on the internet is part of your digital footprint. It's going to be there forever, searchable, in perpetuity. You want to prolong these interactions. Don't be that guy who has the girl hitting on him and he just responds with one-word answers. No, you're not doing that. You want to answer every question with more questions and thought-provoking things and make meaningful conversations, because guess what? These are all text-based and it's going to be searchable, and it's all going to be a part of your digital footprint and lead right back to your home page, your blog. And your blog is going to be your one-stop shop for generating revenue, making money. Where you tweet and put Facebook posts, those things are only to promote your blog and then bring them back where you can actually sell them. Again, you're going to have share functions, and those are ways to aggregate from your blog onto other sites. Things like digging, retweeting, liking, which is a Facebook mechanism. Since you're the expert, you're going to create buzz and stir up everyone who looks at it and needs a way to make your content viral. You're going to entice your readers. You're going to create great headlines. This is the time after you've created your post that you're going to create a great title. This is for those marketing types to get a title that when it shows up in the blog search engine, someone hits it. It's snackable. It's link baiting. Does anyone here know what link baiting is? Okay, link baiting is having very clever, enticing content and posts, especially on microblogs like Twitter, that draw your user in and make them click the link that you want. Something kind of analogous to tabloid headlines. So those can either be negative or positive, but again, they bring you back to their blog. So when you alert your community that fresh content is available on Twitter, you're using this powerful, concise tweets that leave your readers defenseless. They have no choice but to click your content and in turn come back to your blog. You're going to use things like buzzwords. They often are cliche, but they work. It's what people search on, and they're recognizable, and people know that when they see these buzzwords, they can relate with them, and it's something they know that they can get to something meaningful in the end. This is the time that you can delegate something like this, again, to those marketing types. You also want to have effective commenting. So this is kind of a departure for what we were talking about, your home base. So this is after you've blogged, you're actually going to go out into your community. So before I talked about listening to the pulse of your community, you're going to go out there and search your relevant terms, and you're going to go comment on every blog out there, and you're going to start meaningful conversations. This is a part of joining your community, joining the conversation. So what you're going to do is you're going to go to each relevant blog post. You're going to tell them that you like what they wrote, and you're going to create some insightful, intriguing comment that when people come back through on your blog, on their blog, and they see your comment, they say, "Wow, this guy's very witty. He actually knows a lot about this subject." And you're also going to put your name, and you're going to put a link back to your blog, and so they know if they like what you said, they have a place to go back. So now you guys see how kind of social media is tying back in with your blog. You're also going to do the same from your tweets. You're going to tweet as soon as you create a blog post. You're going to create a relevant tweet that brings the person back to your blog. The reason for leaving your name in the same format every time on the post when you're commenting is because, again, this is text-based. It's going to be searchable. So when you go on Google and you search your name, it's going to come up the same way every time. Don't go by Joseph Estes one time and Joe Estes the next. It's going to be very cumbersome to search through because eventually you're going to do a brand audit, and I'll talk about that more coming up. You're going to, again, go to your blog mates posts. You're not going to just stay on your blog. You're going to go out to your competitors, and you're going to join their ranks. You're going to help them out. They help you out, you help them out. It's a very different paradigm from the conventional business. Everyone wins, and it works that way. Sharing is caring. Yeah, I don't know. See what I'm saying? Who here has implemented these type of approaches to social media? Gone out, find conversations and actually commented on them? Does anyone?
I wouldn't say I've done it like really, as much as you seem to be implying it should be done, but I think it's definitely true what you say about it being not so much a competition because of the fact that you've got the whole world as your audience. Mm-hmm. Like with webcomic things, my peers and I, we're all in it together. We're helping each other out with it. And be like, oh yeah, this guy's got a neat story going. Go check his out. Because it's like, a few seconds out of the time, you click over and see it and decide whether or not that's worth following.
Yeah.
And it's like you say, it's the personal recommendation too. Yeah. So.
Yeah, absolutely. So there's also an etiquette to using these tools. Would you buy something if who here's on Twitter? Ooh, relatively small amount. So I'm hoping you'll see the value of Twitter and how it works and join it after tonight. But there's etiquette about it. So you follow these people that you trust and you think they have expertise. And how would you like it if, for example, I wanted to just sell you a product. It was like, just buy this product, sent you a link. If you want to buy this, do this. It's kind of invasive. It's kind of a in-your-face type thing. You don't want to do that. You want to use things like interesting comments and things, just free content. This is really the place where you deliver things for free, and people, if they like what you're doing, they'll come back and they'll read your blog, and in turn come to that site and where you can turn that into money. And again, I'll talk about that in a few. So this is the part where you give and you'll receive. All this that you're doing is actually free. You're not seeing the fruits of it right off the bat. You're going out there, you're giving free content. You're giving blog posts. If you're a musician, maybe you have a song every week and then you tweet about it. You're not charging for it, but you're bringing them back and getting them interested. You're bringing them on as a part of your community. Again, you're not going to tweet your sales pitch. Another thing is you always want to reply. You're going to have this blog with comments and things like that. If someone goes and leaves you some sort of comment, or on Twitter @s you, does anyone know what @ means? It's like when they mention you, or they actually are bringing something to your attention. You can message someone that way. Remember, this is your digital footprint. If you don't respond to that user, it'll be visible on the internet, and people will go and they'll see your conversation and they'll see where it stopped. It stopped with you. You can always keep it going, because again, that brings people back to your site. It shows people that you care, and that all comes in building your community.
Are you going to get to how you do all this and still keep your day job?
Yeah.
A lot of time you made.
It is a lot of time, but remember how passionate you are about. No, I mean, eventually, this is what you're all about. If you could do this day in and day out and get paid for it, that would be ideal. And, this can be a transition into a new position. If it's, eventually I'll show you how to monetize it, and actually the workflow for how you do it, and we'll get to it. But again, lastly, trust. You have to build that trust with people before they start following you, before they want to buy products from you, before they want to join your community. You need to be authentic. So do's, establish a presence on the social networks, your customers, and create a page to promote your brand. This includes your Facebook fan page, which you can do more than just the Facebook template features. You can actually put your own HTML content and things out there. Point your fans to your blog. Make sure they get to your home base. Encourage discussion and participate frequently, like I mentioned. And explore targeted advertising opportunities. What you don't do is create a page and fail to maintain it. Again, your digital footprint. People will see that. They'll see that you're not the expert that they thought they would. Don't try the hard sell approach. Do not throw things in people's face. Do not try and sell them. They will trust you. They will want your product. They will want your expertise. Don't censor comments. That's kind of a controversial thing. Companies are always kind of wary about letting any sort of comment on there. But remember, transparency wins. People will talk on their own channels if they can't through you. Don't spam your friends with frequent messages. Have people opt in type thing. And of course, don't post false information. Okay, now we're bringing it all together. How do you do all this? Well, first you're going to go out and you're going to buy your domain name. Whatever your passion is, whatever your area of expertise is, you're going to go buy the domain. You're going to find that perfect name that you want to use to represent your brand, even if it's your own. I mean, again, this is your personal brand. If you can, go to GoDaddy and try to reserve your name right now. If if you're Tom Smith, you may have some problems registering that domain. But for all of you, I would urge you to get that domain, because that's part of your personal brand. Getting that domain and having that be your home base. That's where your blog's going to be. Then you're going to register that same username, if so, on every platform. You're going to go to Facebook. You're going to go to Twitter. You're going to go to YouTube. You're going to go to Vimeo and Vidler and Bebo and Orkut and all those. And that may sound like a lot of work, like you were saying, going through and updating all those. But I'll show you coming soon how you can do all that fairly easily. Then you're going to make your site beautiful, because that's what your users are coming in and that's what they're judging you by. They're seeing that you are professional, they're saying you're an expert, and that when they come to your site, they're going to be there to absorb your content or to purchase your product. So now you're going to sign up for a Ping.fm and a TubeMogul account. Is anyone familiar with what those are? Okay, good. I'm going to teach you something then. Finally, right? So Ping.fm is a service that you can use to aggregate postings across all different social media channels. Okay, so what you're going to do is you've created your killer content. You've created that blog post that you want to share with everyone. Well, you don't have to go to every site and post it on Facebook and alert people on Twitter and go on Bebo and go on Ning. You're going to do it in one place. You're going to do it from Ping.fm, and you're going to put in all the accounts once, and you're going to be able to aggregate it across all those platforms. Kind of nifty, right?
Is that like a
Hootsuite is for Twitter. That's for you consuming the actual tweets. This actually, lets you push the content out on all that. I know you can do that with Facebook and all that. That's one way of doing it. You can get through a lot of platforms. Ping.fm covers even a lot more.
What about a product called Sendable? Have you seen Sendable?
I haven't seen Sendable. Is it similar?
Well, it's a free service up to a certain point.
Mm-hmm.
You can basically make one bit of content, it can be HTML formatted, and then you can send it to your personal Facebook, your Twitter. The one thing that I found that was very handy about it is you could actually update your fan page on Facebook, which are very hard to do.
Yeah.
But after a certain point, like you get so many tokens per month,
Mm-hmm.
if you use up all those tokens in one per each service, then you have to pay to get more of them. But for, an independent user, it seems like it was a pretty good option.
I like it.
Yeah, because, anyone in here, you guys can be my friends on Facebook. For the most part, though, I don't add people on my personal account on Facebook because I don't know them.
Yeah.
If I've never met them in person, I usually do not add them.
And which is the beauty of a fan page as well.
Right, but if you can't update it from anything other than that fan page, then it's a big frustration and a pain in the butt.
Yeah. Okay, so Sendable. That's one I'll be checking out if you want to write that down. Also, that made me think of, have any of you heard of aboutme.com? And it's not .com, about.me. I think this is kind of largely under the radar, but about.me is kind of your hub for your personal brand. So if you can, go and register your name when you can.
There's another one kind of like that called Flavors Me.
Yeah.
Flavors Me. But yeah, what those sites let you do is actually post everything that relates to you. You can post your Twitter account there, your blog, your Facebook. Did I already say Facebook? You can post that all there in addition to having a picture. You guys can contact me at about.me/Joe Estes. It's kind of an example that you guys can use, but it's I think it's up and coming. So I would, regardless of whether these platforms catch on or not, it's always prudent to go and just register that same username. So again, it's searchable across the internet when you do your brand audit, in addition to people Google searching you. And also TubeMogul is the other one that lets you actually publish to all video sites. So you need to choose your platform, whether it's text or audio or video, and we'll come to that. TubeMogul actually lets you put those out to alt sites. So that's the next thing you're going to do. So we talked about creating a killer post. Then you distribute with those, with TubeMogul and Ping.fm to every platform. Then you go to search.twitter.com and search for all the related terms of your topic. So again, you're listening to the pulse of your community.
Another really great one is Open
Yes. I after all the privacy concerns.
People even know that exists and everything they're posting is out there on the internet.
Yeah. Yeah.
Openfacebook.com.
Yeah, they, has anyone heard about the kind of the issues with privacy or surrounding Facebook? Yeah.
I deleted my account because of it.
You did? Man.
You can't delete your Facebook account.
No, there's a permanent delete.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can.
Web suicide 2.0.
That's a permanent.
It's this service that this guy created in like Amsterdam, and their server will actually log into your Facebook, Twitter, or MySpace and individually delete every single thing that your account ever posted or connected you to.
Oh.
It's so busy, I haven't been able to kill my
But
own.
Facebook still logs that though. They still keep it in there.
I mean, it'll be cached, but I mean, it's all cached on Google if you didn't update your privacy anyway. So
web suicide 2.0.
Now, how far can Google or Facebook get if you've never approved any of those apps that say they want, access to your private information?
You know what?
Or is it any other regular, forum or
What? How far can they get if you don't approve them? How much private data can they see?
Yeah.
I think they've locked that down a lot. I'm not exactly sure how much they can see, but did you guys see on WikiLeaks that someone downloaded through the Facebook API everyone's information? So, I mean, yeah. So all of you guys who deleted your accounts, that guy has them anyway. So, and everyone who has BitTorrents. So, but anyway, back to this. You're going to go through and you're going to follow the people that are tweeting about your topic. So you're building community with those people, and a lot of times when you follow those people, they're going to follow you back. And at that point, once they're following you on Twitter, when you tweet or put a post from the microblog, they're going to get it, and they're going to see the news, the updates about your posts. So people like Ashton Kutcher, who have 1 million followers, when he says, hey, check out this site real quick, I just did this commercial, he's automatically, got whoever's looking at that point or following him or is actually a fan. He may have up to 1 million people looking at that just from a single tweet. I mean, it's incredible. So that's another thing you want to do is follow people tweeting about your topic. There are services out there that will automatically add people. You guys check those out for your own, but that can be pretty helpful because when you get into the thousands of people, again, you want to keep your connections genuine, but you also want a community of relevant people following you.
So how does it look to have more followers than followees?
How does it look?
Like, because you want people to follow you than you follow people.
Well,
right?
you can only follow the 10% of the people that follow you, I believe is the rule. You can only follow 10% of the people that follow you, more than 10%. So, do that. It's kind of a math problem.
Is something that you guys came up with?
No. This is Twitter's. Yeah.
So I know someone who like Megan Good, she doesn't follow anyone, and she has like 1 million, like 100,000.
And Conan O'Brien's only following one guy. Did you guys hear about that? Where he wouldn't follow anyone and then just decided to follow one person, and that guy became an automatic celebrity. Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
So then how does that rule exist, or the 10%, where does that, I don't understand that.
It's,
You can follow 10% above how many people are following.
I believe, I'm not exactly positive, but I know.
People are just
So
trying to
if you're in
spam
100
into your followers.
Yeah.
That's to keep them from
So it's just a constraint they keep from you not spamming, I guess, turning your profile into a spam profile.
You can't follow more people than
Yeah, because they still want to keep the connections genuine.
No, I want to have more followers. So I want to follow 10 people, but I want 1,000 people to follow me, for example.
Yeah. So what you're doing, are you asking how you can do that?
Like, how does it, do you want
to have more people, more people following you?
Yeah, oh, you want to know if you want more people following you than you following them.
Yeah.
You want more people following you.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
Because when people are following you, they're getting your content. That's how you market to them. That's how you're saying, this is the killer post I just created. This is the great content I have. Come. And then they go to your blog, and that in turn turns to hits. And then you can have your marketing campaign from there. So again, okay. So you're adding people, and you're hoping that they'll add you. And then you go to blogsearch.google.com and Technorati. Do you guys know what Technorati is? Yep. Okay. Technorati is basically a hub for all things blogs. It's a search engine for blogs. And you're going to search on your keywords from there. Then you're going to go to all the blogs that match those keywords, and you're going to leave a comment, your name, and a link back to your site on all these conversations. Then you're going to Facebook search your term. You're going to click tab for all results. And then you're going to click pages. And then you're going to join all the pages and do the same for groups. Okay? Sounds tedious, doesn't it? But you're talking about your passion. You're talking about the thing that you want to do most. And it's something that you're going to do. You're going to do this until your fingers hurt. Okay? This is it. This is the workflow to how you promote your product.
Have you ever run across people who are angry that you came into the conversation and left your URL?
That I left my URL?
Yeah, that you're like,
there's
like saying, why you're just here to promote your site? What are you doing?
No, because I don't leave just kind of not disingenuous comments. They're thought-provoking, and there's a space on most blogs where you can say name and website. It asks for it.
Oh, it's linked to your name, but
Yeah.
you don't have that.
If you don't have that,
Yeah.
you're just saying,
signing off.
your name.
Hey,
You
You're
Yeah.
bombing on the comments.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see how people are going to get mad when you're actually genuinely adding something and making the conversation better.
Well, I'm kind of confused about Facebook, and it may be that I'm just lame at it. But,
I doubt it.
because I've just figured it out pretty recently, frankly. But if I'm going through and I have my blog has a title, but I have a Facebook page that's my personal, it's in my name, but I have a Facebook fan page, like a website page, the name of the blog. It seems like you can't actually link to the name of whatever that fan page is, only through your real account, which is your name. But if I don't want millions of strangers knowing where my grandma lives,
Yeah.
is there a way to avoid that?
Yeah. Create another account.
Just make it a person account, but put it in
A person account. Yeah. So kind of the problem with a person account is I think you can have only 5,000 friends.
5,000.
Does everyone confirm that? Which is fine, but that is linked to your fan page. Okay. Now I think where this is going, your personal brand and your private brand is kind of merged at that point. When you're known as that person, like you actually care about your community, you want to bring them in. I see the point where you want to have just that small knit real friends. Okay? And so that's what I would say to address that. Just you create
have another thing in my name.
Yeah. And you could even use that to your advantage, because that could be, if you choose to do so, that could be your professional brand. Okay? And there's lots of discussion on whether you should, kind of separate your professional brand from your personal brand. Some people think they should be the same thing. Some people think they should be opposite. Who knows where it'll go in the future? I don't. But that's one way you do that.
But if it's your same name, you just I'm Susan Lutz, I'm Susan Lutz, the other one? Or?
Yeah. I know a lot of people who aren't even famous or have a personal brand or anything that have two. Anyway, just because they have two lives. They have a professional life. They have one for people at work. They get to see status updates about how they just did so much work today. And then their personal brand, they get to see how they just bungee jumped, over the Grand Canyon.
That was actually on Yahoo, how entrepreneurs, they do create a separate, like fictitious identity.
Yeah.
They do their business with as they're building up. So
Yeah.
they keep their private life separate from what they're doing for business.
Yeah, absolutely. Does that answer your question?
Well,
You don't-
except for the terrible fact that I already am the real Susan Lester, who is already linked to a fan page now.
So, but think how much different the other Susan can be. You could make her be, I don't know, a superhero.
If I like delete the original, I mean, I guess I'm concerned because the original fan page exists,
Yeah.
but it's linked.
Do you have that many fans that you don't want to delete them?
No, but I love all 44 of them.
Tell them to migrate.
Yeah.
You can migrate, you can send them to.
So you have a message, you have a community, so you could easily broadcast them and say, this account has moved over to this fan page. This is the real one now, and you can start. You can easily get messages across because you've built this personal brand with the community around you that you can easily disseminate these kind of messages.
You actually don't have to, if you have a fan page, you create a new account, and then use that account, make them the admin, because you have multiple admins for a fan page, and then take yourself off that fan page, you don't have to lose any of your fans.
That's genius.
There you go.
That was my next slide. You can just add an admin.
And you may want to add privacy to your web.
Yeah.
When it's 3 people
We
on
found that
it,
with my
and it's 3 of us
Yeah.
controlling it, so you know
Because
people help you out with it.
Your address shows up when you register for GoDaddy, so you may want to, we found with my students that we had to add privacy when they register their website, so you don't put your address up there, because there are crazy people in in the world.
Okay.
I've
only been in your house once.
Arista will shut down your domain,
Yeah,
and then you ignore it.
Well, we have to, because we have students, we have female, and we found out that, that it's sensitive putting your address up there, just like this lady, you don't want to say that where you live. I
Yeah.
don't care if you come to my house, because I got something for you, but, but the rest of, for my students,
More money, more problems.
more money, more problems.
Okay.
I know.
So now, earlier I mentioned a personal brand audit. Okay, and so what that is after you've gone through this workflow for disseminating the information, talking about your killer post that you just created, or whatever you want to convey to your audience. You're going to go through and you're going to monitor your site statistics. A lot of you have you heard of Google Analytics? Okay, it's free. It's through Google. It's a way that you can see who's visiting your site, what search words people are using to get there, the frequency of their visits, even stuff like what browser they're using that are coming in. Exactly. Mobile's blown up, isn't it? You also, actually, I just found out that watch lists, which were kind of a popular tool in Technorati, or actually they got rid of them. So don't worry about using watch lists in Technorati. But what you could do is you could create keywords and blogs that you like and create a watch list, and it'll update you when those blogs update their content. But instead what you can do is you can go to Technorati and you can search for mentions of your name. People that are maybe blogging about you or using your username. And what you want to do is you want to thank them, either comment on their post or use them, reference them in your next blog. You also want to go to your Facebook fan page or your regular Facebook page or whoever you gave admin rights to, and you want to manage your Facebook requests. You want to check your alerts. You want to check the groups that you've created, and also your profile on Twitter. On Twitter, you want to check all mentions. So, is everyone familiar with the way Twitter works? Kind of. You post content on Twitter, but you can use people's usernames. So if you want to, again, send them a message, you would say @username, and they would actually get an alert in their mention inbox. So you want to check your mention inbox and see if anyone's added you. And then you want to reply to them and give them some sort of intriguing comment to, again, keep the conversation going so you can create that digital footprint. So again, you can bring people back to your site, and you're searchable. You're going to then search Google for your keywords, and again, mentions of your name. One way you can do this is with Google Alerts. Anyone here use Google Alerts? Okay. Google Alerts is good. Even if you don't have a personal brand or an online identity, you can set up Google Alerts based on keywords. When new sites or content is indexed by Google with your keywords in it, it'll automatically send you an email. You can get this in the form of digest and get it every week. You can get it in any frequency you want. But again, this is a good passive way to get alerts about who's talking about you. So as you can see, you can keep very good tabs on what's going on about you on the internet. I mean, it might seem kind of vast, but using things like this, you can actually see what's happening to you, and people will think you're ubiquitous. They will really think that you're...
This is how companies know that you're talking about them. Your companies do this. They do work. So when you write about, I hate my job,
yeah,
they see it. I've known people who got fired.
For example, yeah, but that's... yes.
But if you're... So PCC, okay, we're going to talk about PCC, that's what you're going to use. But there happens to be a corporation that's a PCC, there's another community college in Portland that's a PCC. How do I find just the things that are my PCC?
Yeah, so you're going to go to search.twitter.com and you're going to look for people who are talking about this PCC.
But how do I do that? How do I
They'll
look
say,
for the rest?
so they'll say something about where it's having to do specifically with Pasadena or that Starbucks.
Pasadena City College in there.
I know, but maybe they'll give you some indication that they're talking about this, and you'll be able to find hashtags. Hashtags are a way of tagging your content, and people use certain things like that. There is a way, even by location. You can see a lot of times now Twitter has location tied to tweets.
Either one of those things that are managing your results or the search itself to filter it down. To filter it down, I would search just for clues to get more and more specific. For PCC specifically, it's
EDU, adding EDU.
Yeah. You're
going to put that in your Twitters.
You'd be surprised. I mean, with how many tweets there are, I think if you searched PCC, I think looking through 50 tweets, you would see one that you'd say, hey, I can identify.
It's a swap.
But then the indication that they give you, if they use any sort of hashtag or anything like that, you can use that to put that in, and then that'll give you a bunch of relevant tweets that are. So that's how you filter it down. Specifically, I tweeted about how Charter Cable had horrible service because they took all my channels away. Okay, and the next day, I had a mention in my inbox that said, "Hi, sir. How can I help you get all your channels back?" Yeah.
That happened to me too. When I had tweeted about Verizon stuff, and I had all these people start following me who also hate Verizon. And then one time I said something about FedEx, and the FedEx job was cute, and then the FedEx representative on Twitter, she responded back to me, I hope you received your package.
Yeah, and I mean they're using these same methodologies to track down who is talking about their brand. To me, I think they're doing a good job. You know, you have companies that are still using the stuffy. I'm going to use my public relations person to release a statement, in the newspaper. No one's reading that, and it's not fast enough. Your brand has already been bashed and taken on a life of its own by that point. You really need to address the people that are talking about your brand on their own channels. So now the moment you've all been waiting for. This is how you monetize it, but it's no mystery. We've already been talking about these things. You've created a personal brand. You've created trust. You've created community around that. And people want to work with a proven expert. When they Google search you and you're the first hit for the entire page of Google, and you have great content, and you have 1 million followers and people commenting all over the place, they know that there's something going on with you, that there's some sort of credibility there. The digital footprint doesn't lie. Things like you'll be asked to do speaking engagements, even classes, even, yeah, that's it, okay. Yeah, never mind. No, but even, you should do free ones even, because people will, they'll talk about what you're doing, and it'll promote your brand. And if you're talking about relevant things, people want to use you for other speaking engagements, or they'll want to interview you for their blog, or put you in an article. And again, that'll keep the conversation going. And when this is converted to text on the internet, it'll be searched, and eventually people will come back to your blog. And then on your blog, you can implement things like advertising. Some people don't like that. Some people like to have, a very aesthetically pleasing, antiseptic blog with no advertisement. Well, that's fine. You can find other ways to make money, but that is one way. If you have 1 million hits a day, advertising might be a bad thing. You might get some click-throughs, especially since Google does a lot of the work for you through AdSense, having relative targeted ads on your site. So something to check into. Have all of you heard of AdSense? Any of you heard of AdSense? Okay. Only this side of the room has heard of everything. And heard. And above all, the goal is bringing users back to your site, because with their wallets. Etiquette says that you can't sell them, through tweets and things like that. But when you're at your home base, when you're on your blog, you can put a huge button that says, buy my product. That's, what you're here for. There's nothing wrong with that. You can make the transaction there. That's where you want to bring them all back to. So what are some takeaways from this? You want to build your brand in every piece of content you contribute. You want to create genuine connections that will last, not just a hit to your page and a bounce off. You want them to last and be followers of you and follow your content and comment on it. You want to be transparent and honest, because, again, your digital footprint will be there for perpetuity, and people will know whether they can trust you or whether they can't, whether it's your opinion or your product. Those things are invaluable. Okay, so you can experiment with social media, make a plan, listen, be transparent and honest, share your content, be personal and act like a person when you're doing these sorts of things, contribute in a meaningful way, again, that killer content, and see criticism as an opportunity to, again, extend the conversation. Be proactive, like Charter was. When I tweeted about their service, they came out and they helped me. And accept that you can't do it all yourself. Build a team. And that's what I have. I have some additional takeaways. These are some good social media books. I don't know if you want to write these down. Chris Brogan, you guys have probably heard of him. He's big time. The Wuffy Factor. That's and then the New Community Rules. Tamara Weinberg, and then Gary Vaynerchuk, personal favorite of mine. And then 6 Pixels of Separation by Mitch Joel, who he puts out a lot of great content. Wow. At least it's every hour. Sometimes I set it for every 15 minutes. So.
Do you have any of this information up on a site somewhere?
So that's the other thing. We do have a takeaway. So as a first step towards creating your personal brand, I went and created a blog for us so we can keep the conversation going even after tonight. So personalbrandtalk.com is what you can go to. Yes. So to get everyone registered, Rachel, how do you expect? Is there a place that we can get everyone's information, or do you want to just have them email me? Can they email you?
I've got the list. All right, you can give me the link. I'm going to be emailing everybody who's here at the workshop today the evaluation form for the workshop, which we would really appreciate you filling that in for the thing. And if you signed in at the end, if you weren't registered for this workshop, if you could leave us your email address, and then we'll add that. And then if I include in that email with the evaluation the link to...
That would do it the other way. If they send it back, we send them the link.
Yeah.
So either way, I mean, this is how you can contact me, about me / Joe Estes. You can send messages. It'll go to my email. You can find me on Twitter, on Facebook, all that good stuff. My blog.
What was that blog again?
Personalbrandtalk.com. Yeah. I know. How did I get that? I know.
You must have hit
Yeah.
somebody.
Yeah. I don't. Believe me, I was thinking of all sorts of stuff that I could register because it's hard these days. Everything's taken. So if you guys, again, if you can find your name in the domain, buy it while you can.
And I've bookmarked almost everything that Joe's been talking about this evening, so I'll share those bookmarks
Yeah, the
with you
book list,
guys.
because they went fast on the book list. I got Gary's, but there were 2 I didn't see.
You mentioned earlier the benefit of having all these links on your blog for reposts and sharing and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I've experimented with a few of those. Some of them are really oppressive. I mean, they have all this crap attached to them so that it's not very clean.
Yeah.
And I mean, I've never used them, but I've tried to link articles before, either to post to my Tumblr or whatnot. Is there a best practices, or is there a good way to go versus a bad way to go? Because we're all looking at the same stuff. We're trying to get it on, Twitter, Facebook, and whatever the basic services are. But it seems like some of them just kind of add all this garbage, those services.
Well, you can go twofold. Things like WordPress have plugins. Some of them are pretty good. Some of them, again, are pretty oppressive. So you can experiment with those and see which ones you like and which ones work. Now, again, people are going to judge you, and believe in your brand based on this stuff. You might want to get to a point where you hire a developer or someone that creates these share functions exactly the way you want them, so that there's no attaching whoever's plugin's message to it, or some sort of superfluous message that you don't need in there. That's my suggestion.
It's all code,
Yeah.
It's all code. Using other people's code.
Is there any other questions? Yeah, go ahead.
Does it make sense that everything you're doing has the same name? So if you're a person and you have a blog and it's a different name, is that bad? Like, should you try to be consistent, or?
I absolutely think you should be consistent because, again, this is text-based, and the web at this point, there is video and facial search and things like that on the horizon where you can actually index those things in video, but primarily the web is indexed by text. So this stuff is searchable. So when people, when you're starting to catch on and when your personal brand is starting to take off and people are noticing you, they want to see that it's, they can search in things because Google will know that consistency, that they're all the same, and bring them up. Now you can link to those, like for example, on aboutme.com, if that's your top hit and you have these 3 different names, it'll still link to them, and you can link to all your stuff from all the different sites, but my recommendation is to have it consistent for text-based search.
Thank you very much. Thank you very informative. You did a good job.
Here.
Okay, I'm actually the associate director for a nationwide massage company, and we do have a YouTube, we do have a Facebook. Is there any advice that you could kind of give to direct in how we can actually utilize that? I'm not sure how we're maintaining it. I kind of took a leave of absence to come back to school, and I actually ran into that same issue where a competitor put their comment on our video like, "Oh, we're the best massage company." They can kind of contribute to us, but I wanted to delete the comment.
Why? I mean, that just kind of shows their true colors. I would keep that and not highlight it and see what you're... So this is what I suggest. I mean, this is it. Get your domain. Register those accounts, and then get a blog, and be commenting. And you should be alerting through your Facebook just about your blog posts and new content that you have, things like that. I think, again, your blog should be home base, and you should roll it out to even more social media sites. Definitely hit those major ones like Twitter and Facebook, where there's a huge market. But yeah, again, this will be available, so you can go through that workflow and see. That helps you out.
Because our business model is actually to get massage therapists to work in their area, and also for clients looking for facilities and
Yeah.
So we have two different audiences.
But are you building your community? Are you going out there to search.twitter and see people who are blogging about massaging, or their backs aching, or them being in pain all day from sitting in their chair? Those people, I guarantee you, Dell is seeing who needs computers and sending them tweets when they have a need. Why aren't you when people are in need of a massage?
I'm in need. And I can tell you how the
Was there another question after that? I do. So is there research done that tells how much time people actually spend on the internet, like reading different stuff, just as a consumer? Like how much?
It's relatively low. People, I don't have a statistic, but I can tell you from what I've read, people spend very little time. If something doesn't attract their attention, they're on and they're moving to the next place that entices them. Again, it sounds cliche, but using things like 10 ways to, feel better after work by getting a massage would be something that people would be like, oh man, I wonder what that's all about. Or, 3 ways to success in doing blah, blah, blah. Again, it may sound kind of cheesy, but some people like that stuff. Find what people in your community will respond to. And I think you'll get those hits based on that. But snackable content, like I mentioned earlier, stuff to link bait them, bring them in and bring them back to your blog.
Google has
In the Google Analytics,
Yes.
for that, it's really great to see people are coming and leaving immediately. How long
Yep.
do they stay on the targeting and using how it works?
And they have stats back. They have stats on how long people stay hooked. I mean,
On the Google Analytics, you can tell exactly which.
Yeah. You can see who hit exactly what page. You can set up goals. So if your goal is to get them to your cart checkout, you can set up a whole workflow to see how they get through. So you can change your site to get them to the place where they spend money the best.
you should.
Yeah.
Yeah. Instead of 7 steps, make it 4 steps, and that's what you use analytics.
Yeah. Why do you think Amazon came up with one-click buying?
Yep.
Those guys know how to make $1. Any other questions?
Any more questions?
No, we want to go home. We'll come back tomorrow.
I'll be in Bolivia.
I'd like to thank